Hello, everyone. Welcome again. Today, we're going to talk about the moments or phases in football, soccer. Okay, and I think this topic is extremely important. I think, my opinion, of course, I could be wrong, of course. This is one of the aspects that in Europe, the last 15, 20 years, football, soccer has mostly developed around systemic training, systemic points of view of the game. And this is, I'm going to explain what we mean. I think you're going to understand after the video what we mean by this. So, football, especially nowadays in European football or soccer, we do not see the game as many isolated parts, but we see it as it's through a systemic fashion, a systemic view. Okay, so we see the game as one, but it's always changing dynamically, okay, from different phases or moments. Okay, so these phases or moments, okay, of the game are four, okay, and they're always changing. So we have, of course, the offensive organization. I'm going to explain exactly through an example what we mean by this. Then we have the defensive transition, the defensive organization, and the offensive transition. This is true to all sports that we play with the ball, like basketball or other sports. Also in hockey or any sports where you play with a ball or a disc in case of hockey, okay? Now, football or soccer is a cyclical sport. This means that it's intermittent and it's different speeds, okay, rhythms, okay? So the example I'm going to just give is, the first one is, for example, when we have possession of the ball, okay, this will be offensive organization. Offensive organization, okay? Or in Spanish also they call it, in Spain they call it ataque organizado, or organized attack, however you want to mean it. The word is really not important, or as attack, you can say it. It really does not matter the word that you use. The main thing is to understand the concept, okay? So, the first one, offense organization or attack, is when our team has possession of the ball, okay? And the explanation there that it says that, we use it because we see it through a systemic view, okay? So through organization and disorganization. The following phase or moment is when our team loses the ball immediately, okay? Immediately after we're losing the ball, we would turn to a defensive transition phase or moment, okay? So we go into defensive transition immediately after losing the ball. This is the immediate phase or moment after losing the ball, okay? Now, if our team would gain the ball back immediately, we would turn to a new offense organization or organized attacking phase, okay, or moment. But if we are not able to get the ball back quickly and the opposing team does not score, we would turn to a defensive organization phase or moment, okay? This phase or moment is related to when our team is strictly defending, okay? Now, if we gain the ball once again back, we would turn to a new offensive transition. But if we don't score quickly, or if there are too many players, more than 7 or 8 players behind the ball, we would turn again to an offensive organization phase. And this goes on over and over and over again in a match. If you see a match, you're going to see that this happens over and over and over again. So as we see, these moments or phases appear hundreds of times in a football soccer match in a very fast, dynamic pace, okay? So fast that many footballers, teams, and coaches are not aware and cannot distinguish between one phase or the other. And here's where we can find the biggest problem, because we need players to understand the game, intelligent players, and especially game intelligent players, okay? So the main thing about this, why it's so important, is that we need to understand that behind every moment there's strategy, okay? Strategy is involved, okay? So it's not just that, okay, we turn to a moment and that's it. No, it's going to be related to the strategy, or how we're going to attack and how we're going to defend, or how we're going to organize offensively and defensively. Okay, this is why it's so important, okay? Things to take into account when referring to the phases or moments of the game, okay? So these are factors that are very, very relevant and very important as far as we are dealing with the moments of the game, okay? For example, how our team, I remember I heard this the first time to Guardiola and Juan Malillo, who is right now his assistant in Manchester City, talking about this, but this is extremely important. He mentioned this once, that how you're going to attack is going to condition the way you will defend. Okay, and this is a contradiction that I see in many colleagues when they say, okay, my team, my idea is to pressure after losing the ball, but they don't realize that the way they attack, if it's very fast paced, you're not going to be able to pressure the ball because the team will not be able to move all together, you know. So for you to do that, you have to do it through positional small patterns of passing, okay, or positional play. And this is why the Spanish way of playing, especially the Barcelona style of football, has had a big influence in tactics nowadays because of positional play. Positional play refers to this, means that they try to, they call it viajar juntos, which means to travel together. So the team will move forward through short passing in order for you, not because it's nicer or more beautiful or the style, but it's really a tactical reason. This is to be able to pressure after losing the ball immediately and gain it back immediately. So it's really a contra-tactical aspect, not so much an aspect related to if you like this type of football or not, okay? In other words, an aesthetic, okay, reason. It's really a contra-tactical reason, okay? And it's really taken from handball, the sport, you know? And this is an aspect that is extremely important. So the way you're going to attack is going to be related to how you're going to defend. And the way you're going to defend will condition the way you will attack. For example, if you defend with a low block, okay, it's going to be more difficult to attack, okay, or to transition than if you defend with a mid block, okay, because the distances are going to be longer away from the opposing team, the opposing goal, okay. Now, the second one is where we gain the ball is going to condition if we turn to offense organization or transition. So if we gain the ball close to our area or box, it's going to be more difficult for us to play transition football if we gain the ball there. Okay, so this is also it's going to condition the way one moment will condition the other. Okay, so and the same thing applies to the other one. Where we lose the ball is going to condition if we turn to defense organization or transition. So if we're losing the ball far away from our goal, it's going to be easier for us not to be a counterattack because it will have more time for our team to retreat and organize. Okay, we will have, instead of maybe half a second, we will have 2 seconds. Okay, and this will be easier or 3 seconds. So this will be easier for our team. They have a larger, bigger chance of organizing than if they're really close. Okay. Now, when we turn to offense organization, a lower rhythm is needed. Okay, this is extremely important, and this is a big problem they have here in South America. The teams do not recognize the moments. They do not recognize when they are in offense organization, and they try to play in a high rhythm. And this is a big problem. Why? Because when we play in a high rhythm, okay, first of all, you're going to risk the ball more. And since you are in defensive near your own goal, this is very dangerous, okay? So when we are in changing to offense organization, building from the play from the back, we do not want to play very fast, okay? We want to make sure that the passes are secure, okay, that we look for width, okay, that we don't lose the ball, okay, and later, as we apply width to the attack and find where we're going to attack, there we apply depth and change the rhythm at higher speed, but not in the beginning. The beginning, first, we're trying our team to get organized, so the rhythm is much slower, okay? In Spanish football, we have one of the principles is called rhythm of play. Rhythm of play refers to this, okay? So the rhythm of the ball is going to organize your team. How fast is the rhythm? It will depend on what phase you are. When our team turns to offensive transition, here we're going to look for depth and speed and take advantage of this defensive disorganization, finishing the plays in the least amount of time, okay? So here we're going to look for quickness and speed and depth because we're trying to take advantage of defensive organization, or that they have not a high amount of players behind the ball. So here is where we're going to look when it's a transition. Here's when we're going to look for speed, okay, and quickness and depth, okay, going straight to the goal, taking the shorter way to the opposing goal, okay. Another important factor is the amount of defending players behind the ball of the opposing team. If there are more than 7 or 8 players behind the ball, there are almost no chances of applying depth and transition and speed. In these cases, we have to turn to offensive organization phase. So if we gain the ball back, but the opposing team has a lot of players behind the ball, there, again, we have to slow down the rhythm, and trying to find the lanes where we're going to attack and organize offensively, okay? We are not going to transition if the other team has many players behind the ball. All these things must be trained, must be taught, okay? Especially if you're coaching kids, if you're coaching teens, if you're coaching adolescents. Kids normally, don't forget that when they're very small, they do not recognize all these things. They do not recognize space. They are not able to play along with teammates. As they begin to grow up, they will develop this, and they will be able to see every time more accurately the playing with a teammate, how his or her teammate will behave, what is expected of him or her. Okay, so these things you have to go gradually and with a lot of patience, okay? And if you're coaching now professional players or semi-professional players and they are not able to recognize this, of course you have to have patience to start teaching this, because this is taught through the game, okay? This is why it's very important to train with real game situations and not do things that are not specific of the game, okay? Now, as far as exercises to develop the moments of the game or phases, okay, exercises in small spaces or rondos, I use this a lot, especially in the warm-ups and especially in the session of tension of the muscle contraction and tactical periodization. We're going to emphasize here the change of reaction when gaining or losing the ball. And this is extremely important, okay? So we're going to work a lot on these things, okay, on tactical things, the reaction when you're going to lose the ball and the reaction of when you're going to gain the ball. And this is going to be related also to the playing model, or the model of play, and the strategy of the coach and the team, okay? What are they going to do? Are they going to press after losing the ball? Or are they going to retreat? Are they going to stay still? Okay, all this information, you have to train it according to what you're going to do, depending on the size on the pitch. If you are in the last third, if you are on the second third, if you are on the first third, what are you going to do? Okay, all these things we have to give information to our players, okay, of what we pretend of them, okay? And it has to be very clear so they know exactly what to do. And like I always say on these videos, remember that football, soccer, okay, these sports are not conscious, they're pre-conscious. So you have to train behavior during the sessions, okay? So they repeat it in the matches. Okay, exercises where we emphasize the change of reaction, but now we have to finish or defend a transition action in our goal or opposing goal. So the first one was to just change of moment or the change of reaction after losing or gaining the ball. This one is after that, okay? So we're going to train, of course, the change of moment, but after what we're going to do, okay? How we're going to finish the play, how we're going to defend a transition action, okay? Defend our goal, for example, okay? Exercises where we create a constraint on the amount of touches for a team to finish a play. For example, an attacking team must finish a play after 12 passes. So we make the attacking team turn to offensive organization and give enough time to the other team to organize defensively. Okay, so and create also exercises where we create constraints where you make it an obligation for one team to turn from transition to offensive organization or transition to defense organization. So you're going to create constraints, making both teams one turn to, and this you can use it in the games, in the sessions of big spaces, okay? The duration of the muscle contraction session, okay? Of the macro principles, okay? So you're going to create constraints where they're going to, whatever team, after gaining the ball, has to make a certain amount of passes. So by creating a certain amount of passes, you're going to make an obligation for that team to go into offensive transition and the other team to go into defensive transition. And then you can lower the amount of passes and make it quicker so they do it quickly, okay? Or faster, okay? And the other one is exercises where we create constraints to attacking team to finish the play in less than 5 passes and defending team to change from attacking phase to defensive transition. So we're going to do the same thing, but now in sessions maybe of speed, on sessions of tension, where you're going to do the same thing, but, now into transition phases, okay? So we're going to condition the attacking team to gain the ball, maybe leave them in numerical superiority, 3v2, 4v3, 5v4, whatever, and they have to finish in less than 5 passes, or maybe, in 2 seconds if you want. You can use time also. But it has to be very fast because we're trying to take advantage of defensive disorganization, okay? Okay, I'm going to put some examples, okay? Okay, so this is just creating a constraint of one team, one of the teams, to attack in more than 9 passes. Okay, so whenever the team loses the ball, they have to at least make 8 or 9 passes in order for them to score. So you're going to give them time to go, the blue team, to go into offensive organization, and you're going to give enough time for the other team to go into defense organization. Okay. So you can do a 1 repetition, 3-4 minutes, 5 minutes. Don't say anything. Don't give them any hints or anything, but just give them the rules, okay? After we have to attack after 10 passes or 12 passes. And then you ask them, okay, so what's the reason? What did we do? What you start asking them and trying to lead them on to understanding the moments, okay? A very simple example. The next one I have here is an example where I conditioned, okay, one team, which is the green team, which they have 3 less players. So I'm going to condition them to lose the ball because they have 3 less players. The 3 players will play support behind the line. They have to score the goal and the small goals. The blue team have to transition quickly, okay, and they are going to have numerical superiority. So they have to create numerical superiority when defending. After stealing the ball, they have to try to score in less than 5 passes, okay, or in 5 passes or less. So here, as you see, they steal the ball and quickly they go into offensive transition. This is a macro principle exercise, as you see, because we're working in collective scales, okay, in the whole pitch practically, or more than 2/3 practically of the whole pitch, okay? Okay, second example. We're going into third example now. We're going to go into you can play around with these type of exercises in the whole pitch, with even 2 groups working at the same time. Okay, this will be a rondo where we're going to create a numerical, they have the same numbers right now, but you can add 1 player, or you can add after 1 second or 2 seconds another player, however you want. So after they steal the ball, it will turn into a 3v2 and also create imbalance with 2 midfielders. Okay, and the 2 helping fullbacks on the green team, they're on the outside cones. They will try to retreat as quickly as possible, but we're going to create a situation where it's going to be on the inside of 3v2, okay, and offensive transition, which is it can be close to reality, okay. They're able to see the situation in a real game, okay. Let me see if I can make it bigger here. Okay, there we go. So we have in the middle a 3v3. You can add a player in the beginning, or you can change it. Take the ball out of pressure, create a 3v2 situation with chase from the back for the fullbacks. It's like more or less like 3v2 plus 2 players of each team. Okay, and there we start working the balance also when we're attacking. Okay, so you can play around with all these type of situations where there is specificity, okay? There is some things that your team is going to do in the matches. Here's another example. In this case, the blue team, if they're able to make a wall pass through this goal that I have here with 2 posts, they will finish the play immediately, like a normal situation. The green team, after 1 or 2 seconds, they will get help from one of the midfielders to create a 3v2. If they steal the ball, they have to attack, okay, in, I don't know, 8 or 10 passes. So we're going to change from a defensive transition to an offensive organization exercise, okay? Wait, let me make it bigger here. Okay, here starts as a 2v2, then I get help from another player. If they steal the ball, okay, we're going to look for width, and then we're going to turn it into an offensive organization exercise, okay? So we're always working these things so they are always organized, because remember that if we're disorganized, we lose the ball, the opposing team will probably have a big advantage as far as the transition or as far as creating situations. So we have to always be aware that the moments and phases of the game are extremely important as far as the players understanding them. And it will give you a huge advantage for creating intelligent players. Whether you're working with adolescents, teens, kids, real small kids, I would not worry so much about them understanding yet the game, because they're really small and they can discover it. But you can begin to introduce games related to this, okay? Especially rondos and small-sided game matches. But especially when we're talking about players that can reach professional football or have a potential, it's very important for them to understand the game and the moments, because as I said before, the moments or phases of the game are going to condition the way you will attack, you will offensive transitions, you will defend transitions, and you will defend organized. So these, knowing the moments, is going to condition all the 4 phases of the game. So this is very important for the player, because he will begin to understand what to do when they change from one to another very quickly. And if you train it, they will understand it very quickly. They will recognize it very quickly, and they will be able to execute. Now, when the ball goes in or doesn't, that it's not your, as a coach, is not so much your responsibility, but your responsibility as a coach is creating the situations so they learn them and they are able to use them, okay? I hope you liked the video. Please let me know if you have any comments, and hope to see you again. Take care. Bye-bye.